Hi everyone, it's me, Jordan Long here, and today I want to talk about why I choose not to choose. Every time it comes up, a lot of folks out there like to guilt you or shame you and say, oh well, you should choose. You should choose who's lording over you in the Gabber, Reich, Share, and Near. And why a lot of folks like to make a big deal out of it is that, yeah, folks make a big deal of being a folkreich, but what some folks don't get is that the right to choose goes both ways. In the 4-1 Reichs, since it's the near, share, and Reich that do the heavy lifting when it comes to choosing and keeping a reckoning of who chose for who and shit like that, even before the gathering even gets a hand on it, it goes both ways. The right to choose and the right not to choose, or the freedom to choose or the freedom not to choose. Well, did you ever choose for the forest setter, or elders, or stewards, or the Reich steward, the Reich warden, or steward, or elders, or the shear warden, and the gathering, or the near warden and the gathering? No. Never have, never will. You know, And you can guilt me or shame me if you want, Ruby, but I never did. Oh, well, you need to, because all of those things that, by choosing those folks, yeah, well, so great. Let them handle it. If they want to choose, that's their own business. I shouldn't have to do it. And thank God the 4-1 Reich doesn't have a Gabber, Reich, Share, and Near law that makes folks do it. Why? Because the Near, Shear, and Reich have to do all the heavy lifting when it comes to keeping a reckoning of who many folks choose and who they chose for and a bunch of other shit, Ruby. Yeah, that's right. Why the 4-1 Reich doesn't have that law is that, one, if the Gabber made that law, then the Reich, Shear, and Near have to be the ones to uphold it, and since they're already doing the heavy lifting of keeping a record of who chose and who chose for who, it would be a nightmare for them, and the Reich, Shears, and Nears would get upset at the Gabber, law worked them, and bitch that the Gabber is overstepping its, you know, its Reich again, or whatever you want to call it, you know? And that's why it never happened in the 4-1 Reichs. Now, other lands have that law, but it doesn't mean that their folkreich is more greater, and it doesn't mean that, by everyone showing up, that makes their Gabber, Reich, Shear, and Near, leaders or whatever, more answerable. It just means they gotta talk to more folks. It don't make them more answerable, though. Oh, the folkreich, you know, of sovereign land has that law. Yeah, great for them. Their Gabber lawmote was, got their Reich and their Near lawmotes to uphold those oversights. Why? Why there? Because since over in sovereign land, the Gabber lawmote's already doing the heavy lifting when it comes to who chose for who, and shit like that. And their Reichs and Shears don't have their Reichs and Nears don't have to do all that heavy lifting. So that's why they were alright with it. And that's why their Reichs and their Nears made laws. It doesn't make that land greater when it comes to being a folkreich or not. So as you can tell, I don't then choose, and I never will choose. It was just one of those, I don't know, gifts or whatever it is that I just said no to, and I'll never ever do anything with. So the 4-1 Rice Gabber Law Moat, Pennsylvania Reich Law Moat, Allegheny Shear Law Moat, and Portview burrow near Lawmote think that I'm choosing anytime soon, well, no, it's not happening.